So in this video, we're going to be breaking down and talking about why using the sole of your foot can add a whole different dimension to your game. Now, we know the inside, the outside, and the sole are the three areas we use to manipulate and control the ball. But really and truly, most players are only comfortable at using just the inside and the outside of our foot. And to be fair, there's nothing really wrong with that. You can be an amazing player just using those two areas of your foot. Especially if you've mastered the basics, then that's perfectly fine. What isn't acceptable though is just using one part of your foot. So if you're only comfortable at using, just say, the inside of your foot, then your game is massively hindered, and you need to work on at least using the inside and the outside of your foot, because there are going to be many important touches that you're going to need to take in the game that require you to use the inside and outside of your foot. Now, the sole of your foot is a bit different because unless you're a futsal player, you don't really have to use it on the pitch. But if you can learn and get comfortable at using it and knowing when to use it as well, that can add so much to your game, especially if you want to be a more technical, skillful player. Now, the most important thing to understand, and not many players really think about this, even players that tend to use the sole of their foot aren't really aware of this, is that the sole of your foot is a completely different way of manipulating the ball. When you use the inside and outside of your foot, you're using touches. You know, when you're dribbling or running with the ball, again, you're using touches or nudges to move the football. If a teammate passes you the football, again, you control it with your first touch. And so what we're saying is you can only manipulate the ball with touches when it comes to using the inside and outside of your foot. You know, you're not really going to touch the ball more than 2 or 3 seconds unless you're dragging the ball around using the inside of your foot, which by that point isn't really effective. Whereas when you're using the sole of your foot, you get 2 different ways of manipulating the ball. And so those are obviously touches, so you can flick or roll the ball with the sole, and that's fine and cool, pretty normal. But then you can also trap the ball whilst keeping contact on the ball, which is something that the other 2 areas of the foot can't really do. Now, this is a big thing because if you can get into the habit of using the sole of your foot, especially comfortable at trapping and holding the ball with your sole, this then allows you to see the pitch or know where everything is whilst knowing exactly where the ball is as well. This is why if you watch a lot of centre backs or full backs play, when they're trying to progress play and they're unopposed, they'll often use the sole of their foot because this allows them to fully know where the ball is so they can face the pitch and play into a teammate comfortably. And so you can try this for yourself next time you play. When you have the ball at your feet, notice the difference between standing with the ball at your feet. So for example, let's say someone plays the ball into you and you take your first touch with the inside of your foot to control it. And now you're looking for your next option or your next teammate to pass to. Of course, you still know that the ball's at your feet, but just notice that feeling compared to receiving the ball, where you can still take your first touch with the inside or outside of your foot. That's fine. But then you manipulate the ball using the sole of your foot, maybe even hold your foot on top of the ball. Notice that feeling compared to the previous feeling where you just touch the ball with the inside of your foot. And so you can try this for yourself when you have the ball at your feet next time you play. Notice the difference between standing with the ball at your feet. So let's say, for example, someone plays the ball into you and you take your first touch with the inside of your foot to control it, which is fine. And then now you're looking for options or you're looking for a teammate to pass to. Notice that compared to receiving the ball, where you can still take your first touch with the inside of your foot. That's perfectly fine to control it. But then using the sole of your foot to either trap or manipulate the ball. You should notice that it's easier to lift your head up when looking for options when you trap the ball using the sole compared to using touches with the inside and outside of your foot. Now, of course, this is not to say that you can't look up when you use the inside and outside of your foot to control the ball. You should always know where the ball is no matter what touch you take. But this is just to show you that the sole has a different way of moving the ball and can benefit you in different ways compared to the inside and outside touches. And so that's pretty much it. Of course, using the sole of your foot can help you in other ways. For example, performing certain skill moves like the V-cut or even the inside out. Obviously, it adds a bit of flair and style to your game, which is always nice. But the main thing is it just adds something extra to your game in terms of how you manipulate the ball. But I will do a video in the future on specific draws you can do to improve using the sole of your foot. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.